The dream when drafting anybody in any sports league is the player or players selected having an immediate impact. This is of course common in the NFL. Every NFL team hopes that their newly drafted rookies are going to have an immediate impact, and frankly, a lot do. I mean, look at Washington with Jaden Daniels last season. It seems like every year some rookie truly changes the fortunes of a team the moment they hit the field. It is uncommon though for two rookies on the same side of the ball for the same team to have a big impact in year one together. But that's exactly what happened for the Dallas Cowboys in the 2016 season. The Cowboys would select running back Ezekiel Elliott in round 1 and quarterback Dak Prescott in round 4, and after some unforeseen circumstances, Dak and Zeke would become the prominent force for this team right out of the gate, and well, were quite successful. The team became a prominent blueprint for drafting and rookie chemistry that still lingers not only in my mind, but the mind of many other NFL fans, especially those of the Cowboys, nearly a decade later. Really, there hasn't been a team quite like them before, or one since for that matter, which is surely a curious case. Throughout their history, the Dallas Cowboys have been quite successful. Before the new millennium, the Cowboys had 5 championships and 8 Super Bowl appearances, so they were no scrub. They would also have 18 total Hall of Famers inducted before 2000. Pretty damn successful to say the least. But it seems like the second the 2000s started, the Cowboys would flip a switch and would change the trajectory of the modern future. Now, this isn't me saying the Cowboys haven't had any success since the start of the new millennium, because, well, that would be a straight lie. But you can't deny, Cowboys fans, you're the only team other than the Houston Texans since the new millennium that hasn't appeared in a conference championship. The Cowboys haven't. Everyone else, man. Houston was founded in 2002. Dallas, I mean, they've been pretty close, even having some great talent carrying the teams that have been close, though they continuously fall short when it matters most. Arguably, the most important player for the Cowboys through the late 2000s into the 2010s was quarterback Tony Romo. Romo was among a couple of the Cowboys that gave their fanbase hope during the first 15 years of the 2000s. But like I stated a moment ago, the Cowboys had a knack for falling short, and unfortunately for Romo, he'd be a part of a lot of the heartbreak. This was still prevalent even at the end of Romo's career, when he was still playing quite well, and the team around him was too, but the Cowboys went through heartbreak, like Dez's non-catch versus the Packers in the 2015 divisional round. Though the Cowboys lost that game, hope was still there. That did not last long though. Shocker. Romo would break his collarbone in week 2, out for most of the year. So without Romo, the Cowboys sputtered out and ended the 2015-16 season with a 4-12 record, bad enough to land the 4th overall pick in the 2016 draft. And with their great offensive line, franchise QB rearing the end, though still playing consistently good, and the departure of their star running back DeMarco Murray a year earlier, the best bet would be to draft a star running back, Ezekiel Elliott from The Ohio State University, who was a decorated player that won a national championship and that game's most valuable player. So that's who the Cowboys would draft. Elliott expected to make an immediate impact for the Cowboys and was already an early favorite for Offensive Rookie of the Year. But as it turns out, this wouldn't be the most important pick the Cowboys make in this draft. In the 4th round, the team would select Dak Prescott from Mississippi State with their 135th overall pick. Fun fact, the Cowboys actually tried to trade for other quarterbacks like Paxton Lynch and Connor Cook, but ultimately failed and ended up with Dak, which obviously worked out for them. It was definitely for the best. Now, Prescott had a pretty good college career, but due to concerns with certain mechanics being inconsistent, turnover concerns, and a DUI arrest about a month and a half before the draft, which definitely didn't help his stock, he began to fall down people's boards. But with the potential Dak showed through his college career, teams saw him as a development project, but in the right situation, he could blossom. At the time, the Cowboys looked like a great destination for Dak, having the opportunity to sit behind and learn from Tony Romo. But that really wouldn't come to fruition. Let's hop into the 2016-17 Dallas Cowboys season. Going into the 2016-17 season, expectation was that Tony Romo, healthy again, would return to form, making the Cowboys competitive with rookie running back Ezekiel Elliott, a top-tier offensive line, star receiver Des Bryant, and a strong veteran tight end Jason Witten, with a pretty solid defense. Prescott was not expected to see much, if any, playing time in the regular season. But their first preseason game would take place in Los Angeles versus the newly relocated Los Angeles Rams. Personally, like pretty much everyone that wasn't a Cowboys fan, I was watching this game to see the Rams return and the debut of their new rookie quarterback, Jared Goff. I love Jared Goff. Video coming soon. But the big story of the conclusion of this game was about the rookie quarterback on the other side. Dak Prescott looked poised. He took control of the Cowboys offense right out of the gate, looking like a vet. Dak went 10 for 12 for 139 yards and 2 touchdowns in just the first half, the only minutes he got that game. And he sure as hell took advantage. It wouldn't be until the Cowboys' second to last preseason game versus the Seahawks that the trajectory of the Cowboys season would change. Tony Romo would finally come back from injury, making his season debut in this game. But his debut would be cut short after literally 3 plays. I'm sorry, Tony. On a shotgun snap, Romo would drop back, and with no receivers open and the pass rushers speeding in, he would begin to rush out of the pocket. Romo is 36 years old at the moment that he's running out of this pocket, so he doesn't have a lot of speed, and with people closing in, he decides to slide. Before he's able to complete the slide, defensive end Cliff Averill would tackle Tony from behind very awkwardly, causing Romo to break a bone in his back, virtually ending his season for the foreseeable future. The Cowboys season uncertain now that their franchise quarterback is out once again, only it was slowly becoming apparent through his preseason that maybe Romo isn't the franchise anymore, but the one they just selected in the 4th round. Dak showed out in this preseason, totaling 454 yards on 39 of 50 attempts, which is a 78% completion percentage. He would total 7 touchdowns through their 4 games. 5 would be through the air and 2 came on the ground. He also threw no interceptions, ultimately ending with an average passer rating of 137.8. And after these performances, Dak was ultimately granted the starting role over initial backup Kellen Moore. Now, heading into the season, the Cowboys were now being led by 2 rookies on offense. Expectations were all over the place, some thinking Dak would continue to play like he did in the preseason, some thinking the exact opposite. It was hard to tell how the Cowboys were going to go for the season after seeing Dak play in the preseason. I didn't know if my expectations were too high, but after seeing all of that, I kind of had high hopes. So, let's hop into the regular season. The Cowboys would start the season versus the Giants at home. This would be Dak and Zeke's official NFL debut, and frankly, they played quite well in each of their debuts. Dak would go 25 for 45 for 227 yards, and no touchdowns, but also no interceptions. Zeke would rush for 51 yards on 20 attempts, including his very first rushing touchdown. This wouldn't be enough though. The Cowboys ultimately lost their first game 20-19. They were really close to a dub, but fell just short, starting the season 0-1. And, well, this triggered something in the Cowboys starting week 2 versus Washington. The game would go back and forth, but the Cowboys would ultimately come out victorious, winning 27-23, moving to 1-1. Dak would again not throw a touchdown or interception in this game, but posted 292 yards on a 73.3 completion percentage. Not bad, but Zeke was starting to show real potential. In his second game, Zeke rushed for 83 yards on 21 attempts with another rushing touchdown. After this W, the Cowboys would start to rack them up. The next week they'd face the Bears at home, ultimately winning 31-17, getting to 2-1. And Dak would finally throw his first career touchdown, also putting up 248 passing yards. This would also be Zeke's first 100-yard game, going for 140 on the ground. The rookies look pretty damn good to start, and well, it would last. The Cowboys would go on to have an amazing win streak, beating the 49ers 24-17 the next week, 28-14 versus the Bengals in week 5, 30-16 versus the Packers in week 6, 29-23 in overtime versus the Eagles in week 8, which is a pretty great comeback being that they were down 23-13 in the fourth quarter. Ultimately, they would rally and win off a walk-off in overtime. The next week, they would cream the Browns 35-10 in week 9, Dak tossing 3 touchdowns in the first half. Through this span, Deke and Zach were showing their potential and the potential that the Cowboys had now, but also maybe in the future as well. From weeks 4 through 9, the Cowboys would go 5-0. Dak would put up 1,253 passing yards, 11 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. A pretty damn good ratio. For Zeke, he rushed for 617 yards, 5 touchdowns on 106 total carries. At this point, both the rookies look like bona fide stars, but it wasn't until this Week 10 matchup versus the Steelers that I and probably a lot of other people were exposed to the power of this duo. Going into this game, the Cowboys came in with a 7-1 record. And on the other side, the Steelers are coming in with a 4-4 record, currently on a 3-game losing streak. So the Steelers are pretty desperate, and going to 4-5 is no bueno. This game would go back and forth, and I actually remember watching and being thoroughly impressed with the Dallas rookies in the face of adversity going against some pretty well-seasoned vets. Frankly, the Cowboys were down for a majority of the game. It wouldn't be really until the end of the third that they would have a lead going into the next quarter. Now, the fourth quarter is chaotic as shit, moments I still remember to this day. Pitt would go back up early with a rushing touchdown with Le'Veon Bell. The Cowboys would then drive 75 yards down the field, ending with a Zeke 14-yard touchdown with about 1:55 left in the game. It looked like the Cowboys were in position to win their 8th game of the season, only Big Ben had something else in mind. With about 42 seconds remaining, the Steelers would quickly run up the line, clock ticking. But instead of spiking the ball to stop the clock, Big Ben pulled a Dan Marino and did a fake spike. And similar to Marino, it was quite a success. Instead of the ball slamming to the turf, it flew through the air and landed in the arms of Antonio Brown for a 15-yard touchdown. The Steelers would attempt a 2-pointer to go up 3, but failed, which seemed to be a pretty consistent pattern through this game. And with this score, regardless of the missed 2-pointer, it seemed the Steelers had a W, and the Cowboys would finally lose a second game. Spoiler, the Cowboys rookies wouldn't let that slide. The Cowboys would get the ball back. And well, quickly there would be a face mask call on Ross Cockrell, allowing the Cowboys to move into field goal range. But the Cowboys don't settle. Instead, they put it in the hands of their rookies. In a shotgun snap, Dak would hand the ball off to Zeke. And in Zeke's words, the line parted like the Red Sea, leaving a massive hole in the middle of the line. And in a swift move, Zeke would rush in for a 32-yard touchdown with 9 seconds remaining. With that, ball game. And I gotta admit, after that run, at the time, I started to actually have high expectations of the Cowboys, and that was not common. I remember watching Zeke's run and thinking that maybe the Cowboys were going to really have a bright future. Good times. Not really. In this game, Dak would accumulate 319 passing yards, his first 300-yard game, 2 touchdowns, and 0 interceptions. Probably his best performance of his career so far. Zeke stole the show though, having 114 rushing yards on 21 attempts and 2 rushing touchdowns. Zeke also totaled 95 receiving yards on 2 receptions, including a receiving touchdown. One thing of note is Dak and Zeke's chemistry seems to be off the charts. They seem to be getting along really well and connecting at a different level than maybe a lot of other rookies do, which helps them a lot on the field, chemistry-wise. And this bond, at least at the time, gave me a sense of validity to see them as the best team in the league, but I was questioning that. The next week, the Cowboys would face the Ravens, winning 27-17. Dak would throw for over 300 yards again for the second week in a row. Next, in week 12 on Thanksgiving, the Cowboys would win a close one versus Washington 31-26. The next week, they'd win an even closer one versus Minnesota 17-15. This game, frankly, began to show the cracks in this Cowboys team. They were actually quite close to losing, but thanks to a potentially missed helmet-to-helmet call on Sam Bradford, the Cowboys barely scraped by. The next week, though, they wouldn't be so lucky. In week 14, the Cowboys would travel to MetLife Stadium to face off against the New York Giants. In a cold weather showdown, the Giants would slightly come out on top, winning 10-7, mainly due to a 60-yard touchdown from OBJ. This would be the Cowboys' second loss of the year, and due to it being a low-scoring affair against one of their biggest rivals, their validity as the best team in the league began to come into question. Their matchup versus the Buccaneers would be pivotal on how their season would end, and luckily for them, this was more of a bounce-back game. Dak was accurate and the run game was steady. The team would scrape by 26-20, which is also the game Zeke hopped into the Salvation Army kettle, creating a truly iconic moment that's still referenced to this day. The team, now 12-2 with 2 games left, they were on a great trajectory to lock up the number 1 seed in the NFC after playing the Lions in week 16. Now, this isn't the Lions of the modern day. They'd get clapped 42-21, allowing the Cowboys to go 13-2. Dez Bryant actually threw a touchdown in this game, the first of his career. And with this W, the Cowboys would clinch the number 1 seed, allowing them to rest their starters in the last regular season game against the Eagles. This turn of events would actually allow Tony Romo to start one more game in his career. Retirement evidently looming. And well, the Eagles would win, but Romo would throw one last touchdown to Terrence Williams, which actually ended up being his final career completion. A great career ending in one of the best ways, even with a chance to win a ring, though on the bench. This would conclude the 2016 regular season for the Dallas Cowboys, again entering the NFC playoffs as the number 1 seed, allowing them to rest their starters for several weeks. This would be detrimental. After an exciting wildcard round, the Packers would move on to the divisional round facing these Cowboys. The Packers went 10-6, led by Aaron Rodgers in the middle of his prime. Rodgers was arguably one of the best QBs of the season, throwing 4,428 yards, 40 touchdowns to only 7 interceptions, selected to his 6th Pro Bowl. A-Rod and the Packers were pretty damn good to say the least, at least offensively. But they flew under the radar mainly due to this Cowboys team in the NFC. The Packers initially started the season 4-6, seemingly left for dead, until, well, week 12 came along and A-Rod suddenly decided to go nuclear, winning the rest of their regular season games. The Packers would then face the Giants in the wildcard round, and A-Rod would dice them up. I bring all this up because I want to add a bit of context into this matchup. As exciting as the Cowboys have been throughout the entirety of the regular season, their starters haven't played for the last 3 weeks heading into this game. The Packers starters have, and right out the gate, it showed. The Cowboys struggled to start out, going down 21-3 at one point, their season looking as if it was nearing its end. Only the Cowboys and their electric rookies thought otherwise. Pretty much the second the Packers went up by 18, the Cowboys would refuse to bleed the clock before halftime, Dak throwing a 40-yard touchdown pass to Dez Bryant. The score now 21-10. With enough time in the half, Dallas hoped that their defense would be able to stop A-Rod in the high-powered offense, and well, they do. and Dallas gets the ball back. Dak and the Cowboys would milk out the rest of the half's clock, letting Dan Bailey hit a 33-yard field goal, making the score 21-13 going into half. The momentum now feels like it's with Dallas, but Green Bay wouldn't go down that easy. To start the half, Rodgers would start out hot, leading the Packers to another touchdown drive, going up 28-13. Now, for Dallas, things looked kinda hopeless, but they would somehow shift the momentum back in their favor. Rodgers would throw an interception to Jeff Heath, his first pick thrown in 9 games. The Cowboys would take advantage, driving all the way down the field, ending with a Witten touchdown reception. The score is now 28-20 early in the fourth. The Cowboys defense would again hold strong against the Packers offense, allowing their offense and star rookies to go down and tie the game in what was the most important drive of their careers up to that point. Dak and Zeke would lead the Cowboys on a smart and concise drive, a good mix of passes and rushes, leading them to score a passing touchdown to Dez Bryant. Then, Dak would run in for a 2-point conversion himself. The game is now tied, 28-28. There's still 4 minutes left. In the NFL, a lot can change in 4 minutes. A-Rod would again begin to drive down the field, but on a fateful deep overthrown pass, Jeff Heath would again intercept the pass, only it wouldn't count due to a penalty. Classic Cowboys. Imagine if it counted. It didn't. The Packers would continue driving until stalling and ultimately kicking a field goal to take the lead 31-28 with under a minute left. Dallas was actually not fazed. They too would get themselves into field goal range, hitting one to tie the game at 31 apiece, but with 34 seconds still remaining. It might be enough time for A-Rod and the Packers to get in position to win before overtime. It did not look great for a moment, frankly. A-Rod getting sacked and the team falling to a 3rd and 20 with only 12 seconds remaining. But what comes next is nothing short of remarkable. The ball would be snapped, but the pocket would collapse quickly, causing A-Rod to roll out to his left. Running closer to the sideline, he would chuck a sidearm pass down the field to Jared Cook, who would end up making one of the best/most memorable sideline grabs to put Green Bay into field goal range with only seconds remaining. This would allow Mason Crosby to hit a 51-yard game-winning field goal, in turn ending the Cowboys' miraculous run with their 2 rookies. Dak would have a good day, throwing 302 yards, 3 touchdowns, and only 1 interception. Zeke would add on 125 yards on 22 carries. Dez would lead the way in receiving with 132 receiving yards, 2 receiving touchdowns on 9 receptions. This game was very memorable for me. I don't know, it feels like one of the only times I've actively rooted for the Cowboys in the playoffs, especially when they were down. I remember watching with my mom and she's like, watch, they're gonna come back. The rookies, they got it in them, and they did. And I genuinely thought they were gonna win, but to this day, this is still one of the most memorable games for me, and this is part of the reason why I'm making this video. So I just felt like, I had to add that in there just because, this game genuinely is awesome. Go watch the highlights right now if you haven't seen it. The Jared Cook catch is crazy. And though the Cowboys lost, they did at the time seem like they had a bright future, and a newly formed hope from the Cowboys fans seemed to be valid. But this game, though, would be the end to the special Cowboys team, and frankly, they're chasing this high to this day. So let's wrap this up. Now that the Cowboys' most successful and fun season in a while has come to an end, it's time to reflect on this team because I think we can. It's been about 10 years almost. In total, in all of the regular season and postseason, Dak would complete 335 of 497 passes for a 67.4 completion percentage. He would also put up 3,969 passing yards, 26 passing touchdowns, 6 rushing touchdowns, with only 5 interceptions. This season performance would lead to Dak winning AP Offensive Rookie of the Year. He would also be selected to the Pro Bowl. Zeke would put up 1,756 total rushing yards, best in the league by the way, 15 rushing touchdowns, 361 total receiving yards, and 1 receiving touchdown. Zeke's phenomenal play made the Pro Bowl as well as the AP NFL First Team All-Pro. I should also note Jason Garrett, their coach, won Coach of the Year, but Both Zeke and Dak would also make the all-rookie team. Shocker. Dez Bryant and Cole Beasley would become Dak's primary wide receivers. Dez would put up 928 receiving yards and 10 receiving touchdowns. Beasley put up 878 receiving yards and 5 touchdowns. Jason Witten was also a key contributor at tight end at the ripe age of 34. He was quite consistent, posting 732 receiving yards and 4 receiving touchdowns. This offense was badass, and like I sort of mentioned earlier, this was kind of one of the only times I've actively rooted for a Cowboys team. History won't remember this team as the greatest team of the decade, but they'll be remembered for opening the rest of the league's eyes to how quickly rookies can make a big impact on their franchise. Not to say that it hasn't happened before, but a 4th-round quarterback and a rookie leading rusher took the wheel head on and lived up to the challenge, which is pretty unique. So what is the curious case of the 2016 Dallas Cowboys? Well, frankly, the team was a paradox dressed as a coronation. No rookie QB and running back found that much success together, leading to a team that looked like a dynasty trailer, ultimately released as a one-season short film. It's been 9 years, and the Cowboys still haven't made it past the divisional round. Zeke is now gone, and Dak as well. Dak's actually still playing pretty well, but the team ultimately never lived up to expectation that was placed on top of them, not only by me, but lots of other fans and analysts as well. I guess this outcome is not too surprising with the Cowboys. I guess Dak could still technically win a ring. I doubt it happens, but I'll eat my pants if he does. But this really felt like the last time that I thought that the Cowboys maybe deserved the moniker of America's team, even at the slightest bit. But that did not last long. This team is a lot of fun to look back on now, probably for the nostalgia, but the story was quite thrilling to witness firsthand. In a league that's built on chaos, the team was both proof that a plan can work, but is also evidence that a plan isn't enough. Sometimes the better story loses, which leads us to a curious case. If you made it this far into the video, I want to thank you so much for watching. All of these videos take so much hard work, so any support, whether that's subscribing or commenting, liking the video, anything. I mean, do whatever you want with this video, I guess. Make a YouTube poop or something. I don't care. But anything's great, and I'm excited to show y'all what I've got coming. So, anyways, I'm Drakey Berg. Have a good night.